What's up, everybody? It's Chad. I'm back again with another episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic. We're at the 20th episode, actually, so we're moving along with this season. I'm here today with my friend Corrina. Thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, and this is your second time on the show, so you're on last year, and figured I'd bring you on again and kind of give a little update with everyone, and
Thank you.
all that. So
Super
without further,
appreciate it.
of course, anytime. And we're gonna have a really good show today. We're gonna talk about the town hall stuff that we've been up to. We're also gonna talk about California. I guess the quality's down. Well,
rumor has it,
California, your quality sucks right now. So we'll see what's up. She's like, no, I don't want to be done saying that. No, my Cali. I understand. And then we're also going to end it. We're going to talk about the federal government and this whole THC debacle thing and how it's getting worse. So without further ado, let's start the episode. Corrina, again, thank you for joining me. And for the people that are new to the show, maybe don't know who you are new to New Mexico, could you give us a brief, who you are rundown?
Absolutely. My name is Corrina Miramontes. I grew up in and out of Las Cruces, Northern California and Southern California. I am a second generation cannabis cultivator, possibly third generation, but that's a secret. Yes. I have been in Northern California for the last about 25 years, raising children, having family. And I recently came back to New Mexico, I guess 2 years ago, to open up a cannabis dispensary. And so I opened the dispensary in December. So we're at our 6-month spot. And it is an art gallery, cannabis dispensary, plant medicine celebration, community space. We have also other things besides cannabis. We have a remedios cabinet. So we have some really neat remedios and plant medicine, fungi medicine, all kinds of really neat healing. I don't want to say, we just have some plant medicine. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, just like the common plant medicine you usually run into. Not like anything illegal, guys. Yeah. I'm not saying anything illegal.
Lion's mane mushrooms, chaparral infusions, stuff like that.
Yeah, and lion's mane, a lot of people have been talking about them lately. And actually, I've been wanting to grow lion's mane just for the fact, one, it's legal. 2, it actually helps people. And I guess you can also eat it almost like steak. So.
Oh, yeah. I make lion's mane tacos. They're one of my favorites.
Okay,
and the really amazing thing about them is that they're one of the few things known, I guess, to man to kind of help regenerate a synapses and brain cells. Mm-hmm. So it's like one of the foods that's really good for your brain. It looks like a brain. So,
yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah. Mm. The other thing that I believe is good for your brain is actually CBC, a cannabinoid.
Yeah. And that's one that's not really talked about or really known by most people. Right. So, a nice name drop.
Had to put a plug in on the cannabinoids.
Yeah, of course. Because we're finding so many more and their uses and everything. So it's great that you dropped that there. Maybe someone's going to go look it up because I'm not going to tell y'all right now.
Yeah, CBC.
Yeah, well, we're here talking about Corrina right now. So how long have you been involved with cannabis? Like what really got you involved? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Well, I mean, I grew up in the cannabis industry as a hobby. My parents' hobby up in Mendocino County. So it was just kind of like I was born into it and always have felt very, very passionate about the plant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
it's kind of just, well, I mean, you said it's generational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a natural thing.
Yeah. Kind of just like boop. And I guess mine is generational too. My uncle, used to grow a lot of weed. I didn't know that for the longest time. And then, of course, I picked up a curiosity for it. So who knows? It was just going to happen either way.
Right. I do come from like the food and wine. My family had a restaurant in Sonoma County for 25 years. And then I rabbit holed and became a certified sommelier and ran beverage programs actually in Northern California. And I in cannabis, there's like terpenes. I first learned about
Yeah.
terpenes in wine and how
Yeah.
they're the largest communication system in the world, and how there's over 4,000 terpenes, and how we throw terpenes to communicate with each other, and how trees throw terpenes to communicate with each other. And so it's nice to like analyze cannabis like wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting because you come from that background. Of course, the terpenes do make a big difference, and we're finding more things out about terpenes. Like recently, we found out about the Tropicana, was it Tropicana phosphates or sulfates? I think it's sulfate. I mean, don't correct me if I'm wrong over there, but yeah, recently they found out like the citrusy kind of terpenes comes from that Tropicana.
Lemony.
Yeah, it comes from that Tropicana. It's not really a terpene. It's weird. So it's kind of like a newer discovery.
Like a flavonoid.
Yeah, like a flavonoid, I guess, or something. It's something that's so new that even I'm like, well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And I've been so busy that I haven't had a chance to really dig into it deeper. So I kind of want to do that sometime soon. So hopefully I can.
So again, like, it's not high THC; it's terpenes and cannabinoids that come to play too.
Yeah, exactly. THC, high THC is just a gimmick. It's a sales gimmick. And we could talk about that a little bit more, when we talk about your shop and everything. But, let's talk about that first. And, the first thing I want to mention about it is it's in a historic part of town, a very historic part of town. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. It's actually in the original township of Las Cruces. It's on Mesquite Street, which is the Camino Real. The road, I believe, goes from Mexico City to Santa Fe.
Yeah, it does.
And so... I tell people that Pat Garrett lived on my street. And for those of you that don't know who Pat Garrett is, he's the person that shot Billy the Kid. So lots of, And my building's 111 years old. And
wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Billy the Kid definitely walked by it a few times. If y'all don't know who Billy the Kid is, it's the whole Wild West, story thing that, it's a real story. But he was pretty much a gunslinger. If you guys heard the song by Warren G called Regulators, they kind of quote a certain movie that's kind of based off of Billy the Kid and everything from the 90s. And, he's really renowned in the area. If you guys don't know, it's actually a really interesting story. Look it up historical wise. Here in Las Cruces, there's actually a lot of good historical sites you can visit. That we actually have the courthouse where he was prosecuted. He was supposed to be hung, but he broke out of jail and killed another sheriff, and whole story thing with that one. But yeah, there's a lot of Billy the Kid stuff, so it's really cool that it's on there, and the fact that it's on that ancient road, because the Native Americans actually used to use that trail, and then the Spaniards found it too, and then they started to use it solely, and kind of dug it out.
Definitely believe that. Yeah. And I grew up in that neighborhood. My grandparents and my father are buried in the cemetery, like a couple blocks from the dispensary. So I have pretty deep roots in the neighborhood. I grew up running around that neighborhood. So it feels pretty good to own a business in that neighborhood. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because where I live now, where I own a house, there's a baseball field, and I grew up playing tournaments there, even throughout high school. I would turn around and wonder, man, what would those houses look like over there? And I live there. So it's kind of funny how, it does a whole full circle, So yeah, the road we're talking about is Camino de Real. Oh, let me try to say the whole thing. De Tierra Adentro. Oh man, I chopped that up bad. Anyway, it's a long name. Most people just know it as, Camino Real. And that's pretty much what
Camino
the translation
Real
of your...
Tierra Adentro.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's a direct translation of just the Camino Real portion of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is Royal Road. And so do you want to kind of touch on that, the reason why you chose that? I mean, for obvious, other than obvious reasons.
Right. I definitely wanted to highlight the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it is the Royal Road. And I just wanted to pay, homage to the history in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so that's, definitely how Royal Road came to be.
Yeah. It's pretty apparent, but sometimes, there's other reasons, but I like that, it's paying, homage and, really respect to the area and the neighborhood. You're from the area too. So, you might as well just embrace it a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't know why it took me so long when I kept seeing, I was like, yeah, Royal Road. I wasn't really thinking of it. Then I was like, one day I was like, wait a minute. That's the oh.
Yep.
That just snapped. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yep.
I was like,
The light bulb.
clever. Yeah. Bloop. I was like, clever, Corrina. Clever. I like it.
Yeah.
You know.
And I want to have a safe space for the tias and the abuelitas to
Yeah.
come and feel comfortable getting their remedios.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like we definitely make it a place where you can ask about cannabinoids.
Yeah.
Where you can ask about remedios. I always start with, I am not a doctor, but this is what I do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's dope. And, you know, I know in your garden in the back, you have a bunch of different, variety of plants and herbs and stuff like that.
Yeah, all plant medicine or food.
Yeah.
All plant medicine, definitely on property. And this kind of flows into we have events back there. And if anybody's interested in having a cannabis-friendly event, the event space is definitely open to be used. And I've created a secret garden for sure. I had a dear friend once tell me that cannabis is the gateway to planting everything else.
That's funny,
and cannabis really did teach me how to garden for food and for medicine. So. The goal is everything on the property to be some type of plant medicine or edible food.
Yeah, I'm kind of like the same way. I don't really like growing something unless I can eat it. It just kind of feels like, okay, I wasted all that money to look at it.
Right.
So there's that aspect. I really love tomatoes. So I usually do grow tomatoes. Luckily, this year I had a volunteer. Just started growing in like February, and I was like, "Whoop! I'm gonna take care of you." So that one has tomatoes on it. And, it's looking big. It's probably about 3 feet down, so it's real happy. But
awesome.
Yeah, it's dope that you have that next to, because the way that you have your dispensary set up, it's a house dispensary, right? Like your living quarters as well.
It is actually, yeah. It's also, the road has been coined the merchant trail. So I grew up in the neighborhood going into people's homes, and they had tienditas. So you would knock on their front door and you would ask for a soda or a candy bar, and they would run and get it and charge you at the door. And this was something very typical in these neighborhoods that, we had the corner market, the corner quickie marts, but they were the little tienditas.
Yeah.
And that's kind of conceptually how Royal Road, I've kind of, created Royal Road around and so
that's kind of cool. Yeah, I could see that, especially the way that's set up.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like knock, knock.
Yeah.
I like that, and it gives it a homey feel.
And it's definitely, small business.
Yeah.
It's just
local.
Yeah. Local small business.
Yeah. What about the little furry companions that help you out?
Oh,
Care to talk about them?
Yeah. My best friends.
Yeah, of course.
Chuko and Sochi.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's to say? Dogs are our most loyal companions, right? Our best friends and our extra lookouts.
Yeah.
So
for sure. And they're good dogs, Chuko's this huge white dog, beautiful dog, and so she's a little short. She reminds me of my dog Tangy. Yeah. They're similar alike, like little crazy things. And there's something else.
Yep, fun.
It's dope.
Sochi, I think I've said this on the last episode, but Sochi was bred in Mendocino for cannabis farms.
You did mention that,
I think so.
Yeah, that is
she
pretty
comes
cool.
from Covelo, California, which is in the heart of the Emerald Triangle. She's supposed to be looking out for moles and stuff like hunting in the weed garden.
The little rats and stuff like that. Yeah. Tangy loves hunting rats. Oh my God, the little animals, she goes crazy for them.
I bet.
So yeah, I'm sure she does too as well. So and it's cool, like going to a dispensary and being able to see like a dog or something kind of friendly like that. I'm sure certain people really enjoy that, or just being near.
Yeah. I think they have a personality. It's it's their home. So
that's true. Yeah. So the events that you do now, you don't just do like the backyard one. I've been to events that you've had in an actual dispensary with, educational kind of stuff. Do you care to, kind of touch on those? What kind of ones you have and ones that maybe you're doing in the future?
Absolutely. I'm just gonna, since we're not reading, I think that one of the main goals originally was to create a community space and share knowledge that I have learned in the last 25 years being away from Las Cruces. not saying that there's things that you can't learn in Las Cruces, but when you go out and travel and experience different things, you learn a lot. You get an education that is like you can't put a price on it. And so being able to come back and run and have these like community-based events and education for, one of the poorest states in the United States.
Yeah.
One of the, we're also in the borderlands, and there's been a lot of like generational trauma here. And to be able to like share my story, that it doesn't always have to be, that way. You're not stuck anywhere, and that you have lots of choices, was originally the goal, in having that format. So it's been really great to build community space. We have had a natural farming class where we've had a seed swap that was really, really amazing.
That was fun.
Yeah. We've had, an open house with Saba. We had my employee is an insurance agent. She did an insurance class.
That was such a good one, though. I liked it. It was really informal.
Yeah.
Information.
We've done spoken word. I'm open to collaborate on like community events. We're talking about doing a vigil for Palestine. We are doing a clothing swap on Friday.
That's really cool, actually. So, well, here's an event you can talk about coming up.
Right. Definitely. Teaching more gardening classes, hopefully coming up. Just everything that any kind of education that we can give the community, I'm happy to support.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe however I can help you with that, let me know. Because I'm all about education.
Yeah.
Especially the way that you do it and the way that the platform that you go, people just come and they learn.
Right.
Especially with the gardening class, that was great.
Right.
I didn't know I could make soap from ash.
Right.
And
that's it. I think that's important for people to feel comfortable. I feel like people are you learn when you feel comfortable, not when you're like spoken at.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And there's always little goodies and stuff to look at, and so it's great. And
Thank you.
Art on the wall helps too. I really love the art on the wall.
Yeah.
It's very New Mexican because there's a lot of places that second as an art gallery in New Mexico. And there's a lot of places that you can just buy the art from directly off the wall. Like most restaurants you go to in New Mexico, if you guys don't know this, you can usually just buy it off the wall. And that's is it the same concept of yours?
Absolutely.
I love it. So
absolutely.
get your weed and your art in one place.
And we're definitely looking to change the art installation every 4 months. So if anybody is interested in showing their art and it fits with the space, then happy to meet you and talk about doing an art, displaying your art.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe someone will take it home with them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Someone walks in to buy a pre-roll and they end up with 3 paintings too.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
And I just love that New Mexican aspect of it because we're so big on art here. And it's kind of ignored sometimes, and I'm kind of glad that we're embracing it now.
Absolutely.
And I'm seeing that as a kid we didn't really embrace it at all, but now it's kind of like, oh well, why wouldn't we?
Well, the creativity in New Mexico is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the craziest things have been created here. I mean, Microsoft started here.
Right.
Some of the best
Hilton.
things. Hilton. Yeah, random, right?
Yeah, and I think there's something about the desert that helps stimulate people's creativity.
Something. I mean, Georgia O'Keeffe.
Right.
She's one of the more renowned ones that she loved it for that purpose and reason. So and then a lot of people have used New Mexico as their muse. To really think of what they want to do or what do they want to create. Actually, one time I was driving to Santa Fe with a buddy, and we were close. And the way I knew that I was close is because there was a guy on the side of the road painting. Like literally right on the side of the road, just painting the landscape.
Right.
He goes, "Are we almost there?" And I go, "Yeah."
Yep.
So that's Santa Fe in a little nutshell for that one.
And I love creativity. I feel like it's like your connection with the spiritual source.
Yeah, 100%. And humans we're creative creatures. It's not just creating electronics or creating warfare items. It's art. It's something useful. It's all those things above. But, we do love to create particularly art, and I love art too, especially the crafts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thank you for sharing that with me, especially the art part. But do you have any tips for anybody starting out, with getting into the cannabis industry now, with the retail space? I know you've had, a while to kind of get going and figure out the ins and outs. I know especially with BioTrack. Oh man,
Right.
like what are some tips you can give somebody starting out that, you wish you knew?
Well, I mean, I've been asked this before by multiple people that want to come here and open up shop. The first thing I tell everyone is that you have to have a passion for cannabis, not for money.
Yeah.
If you're thinking you're gonna get rich quick, you kind of deal with this unpredictable market. You never know what's going to happen because of our, because of the federal law, because of so many layers of what cannabis is. So the first thing that I tell everyone, if you're going to get in this business, you better be passionate about the plant and cannabis in general. Like, that's the first advice that I give everyone. So I lose a lot of people there.
They're like, oh, never mind then. If I can't make $1 billion the first year, I don't want it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So, and I would say that's the most important thing, because we won't, we want to work with other people that are passionate about the plant.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think that's like key, because when you're struggling through all the other things of, all the bureaucratic things, then it brings you back to the reason why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And so that's what brings me back, because I am super passionate about the plant and the plant medicine and sharing the plant in a helpful way.
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing. I feel like my story is a little unconventional, so I feel like I can't really give advice. I am self-funded.
Yeah.
I own my building. I don't go over the top on anything, big.
Yeah.
But I don't think I definitely, obviously, I've changed my whole life to come here and pursue the plant passion.
Yeah.
So my story isn't really, my story is a little different, I feel.
But it's interesting, it's,
Thank you.
You've done it by yourself. There's not many people that can say that, by the way.
Right.
So, congratulations on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Not a lot of people can say like, I'm self-funded. I did this on my own, like all of this is me, like there's no, money backer or whatever. So no, congratulations on that. That's something to actually brag about.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's actually really
it feels
cool.
good.
Yeah.
It feels good. And it makes it, obviously easier, because as everyone says, the biggest cost is labor. And so currently that's one of my only costs. So
yeah. And you do a good job. You actually pay your employees really well.
Oh,
and
I would love to talk about this.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
To talk about this.
I know, but I congratulate you for that. You
Thank
do
you.
a good job. You at least take
Thank
care
you.
of your employees. Is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
That's great. Not a lot of people do. And that'd be sad to see. But a lot of places do not take care of their employees, and you do. And that's great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And where can people find you in town?
So on Mesquite Street.
Okay. It's not Royal Road, everybody. It's not the name of the road. It's Mesquite now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We're switching. So on the Royal Road, but in the original, it runs parallel to Main Street in Las Cruces. So it's a little off the beaten path, but it's in the old historic Mesquite district, in the middle of town,
Yeah.
And so, we're 3 blocks north of Klein Park, if anybody knows where that is in the historic district. So, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're downtown in Cruces, it's really easy to find. It's just literally just through a little neighborhood area and boom, we're right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, appreciate that. What products do you carry right now? I know last time, you were kind of building it up, but now you have all kinds now. Actually, let's pull up the website. There we go. Gino has the website for us. So there we are. now it's now open.
Awesome. Thank you, Gino.
Yeah, and you said you worked on this on your own, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is all your work. all Corrina's work. So yeah, not even, not just the dispensary is yours and owned yours, the website. That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah. I just went to the Bay Area and got a little bit of constructive criticism about it, but yeah, we'll hopefully menu up soon. But our purveyors, so one thing that has been really incredible about owning the shop, and I'm pretty much, the selection is curated. I have relationships with every single person that is on my shelf. I know a lot about every single brand because I have a relationship with the owner.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm trying to nurture in my space. I think that's like really important. We do have okay, so let's see. So we have edibles. I'm going to start kind of do the tour of the dispensary. So we do have an incredible selection of edibles. We have Wild, of course. We have Headspace. We have The Kitchen. We also have First Crop, which is a New Mexico company, but they're doing incredible things with gummies. So they have adaptogens in their gummies. They have CBD in their gummies. They're vegan. And these gummies have been really incredible into introducing the tias and the abuelitas to gummies into cannabis plant medicine. And I love that they're a New Mexico. I love Wild. They have the CBC, the CBG, the rare cannabinoids or the cannabinoids, and our full spectrum. But to celebrate a New Mexico company and have it be vegan and have it be all the layers of all the things, holistic, sustainable, and regenerative, I think is really is what we're shooting for holistically on all of our product. So those are our edibles. We have some herbal edible brownies, some of their tinctures, and then the next cabinet is our concentrates. And I, of course, love smoking bubble hash, ice water hash. Yeah, I'm mortified of torches, so I'm not really a heady or any. I don't even know what the language is, but I'm not a banger and a heady here.
Well, I know. I went to your house one time. You had that rig, and you were like, "Can you show me?"
Yep. And so we do have Couch Lock. We have Hash Brothers. We have some Farm Flourish collaborations, and super excited about. That's kind of, I feel like, the trend right now in cannabis. And so those purveyors are fun to work with, and they have some really fun stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do a good job.
Yeah.
Those ladies are awesome.
And Hash Brothers is interesting because they grow their own biomass. They grow their own flower, and then they make their ice water.
So single source.
Yes.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. And
it's not as common to see that.
Right. Yeah. And that's fun. Now getting into our flour, we have a bunch of like prepackaged flour, which is fun. We have Desert Farms. Let's see. We have Fourth Element, who is a local big green grower, who's a local Las Cruces, again, really trying to stay small, handcrafted, very hand-picked cultivars and growers. We have Deli Style, which is a lot of fun too, and that was an interesting launch, Deli Style. But we have Albuquerque Cannabis,
which is right there. Yeah. Right on the screen.
Upriver Cannabis. And,
hold on.
Okay. Albuquerque Cannabis is really interesting because they come from the Chama Valley, and hopefully their fire is subsiding. I don't know much about it, but that's a little prayer in the air for them. But Albuquerque has one of 4 permits to throw a pump in the river and water their cannabis grow with river water.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's sun grown, and I'm a proponent for sun grown. It's river fed, and what does he say? Moon kissed, something like that. But it's really, really beautiful flower. And he actually has a cultivar called Pink Boost.
Okay.
And that is Pink Boost Goddess is one of the first cultivars that were highlighted for its THCA
Okay.
cannabinoids, which is known as the skinny weed or the appetite suppressant weed.
Yeah.
So pink, so it's a phenotype or a cultivar from Pink Boost Goddess. So that was surprising that he even had that. And that's been exciting to sell his cannabis. Upriver is his buddy, also coming from northern New Mexico. We're doing deli style, and then we also have an indoor grower from Carlsbad, David Hill, and PMC.
Yes, PMC. BCC was on the screen. That's why I was like, wait, my bad. Yeah. But PMC, David over in Carlsbad. Yeah, he's doing a great job.
Yes, and I saw him today. Yep, Desert Flower, Botanics, Equilibrium Seeds, Crucis Craft Cannabis, Headspace, of course. Yeah, all these great. The Kitchen.
Tinger Brothers are from town as well.
Yep. Upriver, the Wild.
I like that logo.
Yeah, Upriver. He's great too.
Yeah.
I was on a trajectory to talk about something. Oh, PMC, David.
Yeah, David.
So he was here. He was here today, and I introduced him to someone, and I was like, so he won Best Personal Grower of the Essies, right? And then he placed top 3 in 2 categories at the Growers Cup, and then in the 3rd category, he placed multiple strains in the top 20.
Yeah.
And we are one of the only cannabis dispensaries that have his cannabis.
Yeah. And he grows really good cannabis.
Yes.
I mean, I've had it for years. And if you guys are lucky, you can actually get a hold of something that I grew, and he has been growing out through the years. So, yeah. So
really?
A couple of his cultivars, I gave him, last year when I was growing them.
Oh, fun.
And he still grows them out to this day. So
fun.
If you guys are lucky enough, you get to, kind of.
Great guy, like great heart, great human being. So it's nice to see the intention that he puts in the cannabis.
Yeah, 100%. You can tell when you go to his grow, clean, so clean.
Man.
Like it just,
I like that.
Yeah, it's just you can eat off the trays, when the plants are grown there. It's so clean, and that's very rare because you'll see like algae sometimes, or you'll see like a black muck, or just dirt,
clutter.
leaves. Yeah, or clutter. You don't see that with him. He's very organized. His grows are amazing. I got to get him on the show again so that way he can show off his grow again. Because last time, they're still kind of dialing it in, and now that it's getting more dialed in, I'm pretty sure it's pretty much dialed in by now. Yeah. So his cultivars, he's coming out with some new ones all the time. So I'm sure he's going to be coming out with some new stuff here soon. So be on the lookout for that from PMC. So yeah, definitely shout out to David.
And then we also have hometown hero Crosstown 575 with C.
Yeah.
He's been in the traditional market growing for a while.
Just like most.
Celebrate the traditional market.
Yeah.
So hometown hero, and we're also doing their cannabis deli style.
Oh, so, cool. That's dope. Yeah, good for them. Yeah, awesome. Well, appreciate you sharing that with me.
Yeah, excited.
Yeah, I was like, dang, you remembered them all. And I'm sure they appreciate it too. Yeah. So, Corrina has a really good selection and everything. Give her a shout out. Go check it out. It's just really homey over there. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to add before we move on to the town halls?
I don't think so.
No? Yeah? Well, thank you so much again. And, I look forward to continuing this conversation. So we're going to talk about town halls. And this is something I've been wanting to, bring you on and the other ladies on to, talk about for a while. Because, this is a kind of recent for us, within the year, that we've been doing. And, if you guys have been paying attention to the podcast at all, or, any of my socials, that we've been doing town halls, and Corrina's been involved with it heavily with me. She's been involved through the whole process. She goes to the town halls with us. She hosts them with us. The first town hall was actually at her dispensary in the back. So that was actually really good. And it was a really good turnout. And I really thank you again for that because, that really gave us the momentum, going forward after that to, just continue. And even now we still have work to do.
Yes.
Really, I want to get what is your kind of thought of how this has been going so far with it? Have you seen positives or, what do you?
I think it's fabulous. Yeah. I think that it's a way for I think we kind of play like the middleman in between policy and industry.
Mhm.
And I think that's super important.
Yeah.
And I think that it gives a platform for industry to speak up.
Yeah.
And that is super, super important.
Yeah.
I never imagined that I would be involved in, but when I left California, I was told, I don't know if anybody knows who Swami is, but he's a pretty big figure in the Northern California growers scene. And I told him, Swami, I'm moving to New Mexico. They just passed recreational. And he cornered me and he goes, Corrina, with recreational comes regulations. And if you are going to be in this business, you really need to be involved with regulations. So every time I wasn't so excited about being involved in regulations, his little Corrina comes into play.
Kicked you right in the ass, huh? You're like, okay, all right.
So, and of course, I mean, Valerie Hubbard is just a huge inspiration in policy. I actually was living in Ruidoso at the time that she was, when she went to jail for cannabis. So.
She was unfortunately incarcerated for growing cannabis in the forest, something that she talks about all the time. And, I will have her here on the show eventually, and, she can tell you guys all about it. But yeah, Valerie Hubbard, she's been, very instrumental in this. Her and I had met, sometime last year, and we figured we need to do this town hall. And then, I brought in Tracy and Nicole, and then she brought you along.
Right.
And speaking of that, the first meeting we had, which is such an amazing meeting, we spent 3 hours. What did you really expect to come from this or to get from this, at that first meeting? What did you really expect?
Oh, our first meeting I thought was a luncheon. A luncheon date.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's all I thought. We were celebrating Val's birthday. But it just I don't know, maybe you guys had things planned, but I felt like it just organically, happened. I offered my space. And then we're off and running.
Yeah, I mean, from there, it just kept going and going and going, after that first town hall.
And it was so wonderful to see the response of the industry.
Yeah, especially, the first meeting. Let's talk about that. What was your feedback you got from the very first meeting, the one that was at your place?
I mean, that was a great turnout.
Yeah.
So it was definitely the need. The need is here.
Yeah.
The need is there.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could coach people into sticking up for themselves and standing up for themselves and speaking, then we could change stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And especially here in New Mexico. And I have to tell people this all the time, our representatives don't really have a choice but to listen to us because it's such a small state. States like California, I've heard so many people so many times when I tell them that, they're like, what, they listen to you? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, they don't really have a choice.
Well, they want to. I mean, we were invited to lunch by a representative.
Yeah, that's true. Ray Latta, representative, thank you again, Ray Latta, for, inviting us to lunch. Mm-hmm. We had a really good conversation with him. I think that was after the Sunland Park meeting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. We had just got done with the Sunland Park one, which, came after the Las Cruces one. And we were able to share some data with him that was really crucial. It really helped him understand really where we need to go as an industry and what we need. And it was just great. He wanted to hear from us.
Yes. And he communicated with us what kind of bills he would sponsor. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he's had a chance to tour any cannabis grows, but he was dying to see cannabis grows.
He has. I'll contact him again, see if he has. If he has it, then I'm like, all right, I will make sure you get to go to see it.
There's something pretty special about seeing the plants grow.
Yeah, there is. Especially when they're in their natural environment, or they're just beautiful. They're doing great. They're taken care of. Mm-hmm. You just want to grab them and smell them and just all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. I got to go see Green Fuegos grow today. Shout out to you guys. Awesome. Up in Santa Fe. I got to see what they're doing, and they're growing more plants, and plants look good. They smelled good. The super boof, super boof's fire. So, but yeah, it's cool to see where the industry's going with this, and the town hall, really just helps us because so far, I'll tell you guys the cities we've gone. We've gone to Cruces, of course. We went to Sunland Park right after that. Then we headed up to Albuquerque. Then we were brave enough to go to Eastern New Mexico. We went and hit up Carlsbad first, which was great. It was actually really, really fun, really decent turnout. Then we went to Hobbs. and Carlsbad at the same time. The folks from the plug, they helped us out with that one. Thank you again for that. And who knows, in the future we might need their help again, because these get kind of busy. And so we went to all those places, and we collected so much data, and we still have more data to collect. We just really wanted to hit those areas first, because their sales were just crazy. So we needed to hear how it was going from them. We still have some other areas to hit up. We need to go to Farmington and Santa Fe as well. Those are going to be our 2 key areas that we need to go to next. And I'm kind of excited to go to Farmington. How about you?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I hear there's a lot of grows there.
That's why. That's why I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to maybe check out a couple grows, see what these guys bring, and I already got a couple contacts up there, for some people that maybe want to host, and that would be really great. Get up there to Farmington in that area. My brother does. He makes cider up in Durango, Colorado.
Oh,
so we go up that way sometimes,
Oh,
and so
cool.
I've only really gone
beautiful.
through. Yeah, it's gorgeous
so
up there. Yeah, so maybe we'll check out Shiprock or something like that. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I've never been able to go check out Shiprock.
Me
Living here my whole life, it'd be really cool to check out something like that. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Or maybe the Four Corners. Who knows? Who knows what we'll get into. We usually try to spend like a week in there, kind of figure it out. But yeah, if you guys are interested in joining our town halls, reach out to us, me, Corrina, or anybody else, part of the Indo Sesh, and we'll let you know what's happening. Follow my socials. I tag Corrina in pretty much everything I post.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I tag her pretty much everything I post. So she'll share it too as well, and you guys will know where to go. And I'm sure once we get flyers going and printed, she'll have them in the shop for you guys. If you go in there, if you see some art, you'll see our flyer. So yeah, I mean, what are some other places you think we need to go?
Oh man, Santa Fe is going to be interesting.
Yeah, that one's interesting, and they have more dispensaries now since the last time I've been there. I checked and I'm like, oh wow, you guys have a lot more. So yeah, that one's going to be really interesting. We're at the state capitol. That's where all the laws are made. That's where all this stuff happens. So that one's going to be more different than everything in the state. You're right. Now that I think about it. So.
And I mean, the Sunland Park ones I think are neat, because I'm excited about the goings on in Sunland Park. I think that it's a really interesting place and time in history for Sunland Park.
Oh, it
is. That is always exciting to watch.
It is. And like people that are from up north and everything, I'm like, have you gone to Sunland Park yet? They're like, no. I'm like, dude, go.
Anybody in the industry,
just go check it out. It is crazy. Sunland Park. I'm like, there's places making $1 million a month.
Right.
They're fighting over each other. One gets shut down for a day. They're all vultures in the parking lot trying to steal each other's customers. It's wild over there.
I mean, Gallup might be interesting.
Yeah, Gallup might be a good one too. We have that bright green, going on in the kind of the vicinity area. So they still won't call me back. But that might be another good one that we need to go check out. Maybe we can do Farmington and Gallup the same day. It's kind of the same.
Those are so far from each other.
We won't do the same. We'll work with with our counterparts. Maybe talk that out and figure which one we can do. Or if it's even feasible. I feel we need to go to Silver City and Deming. Those are a couple other places I feel we need to kind of hit up to. A little bit smaller markets, but still they matter.
Totally. I mean, Silver City has its place in the cannabis market in the state.
Yeah, definitely. Some really good cannabis comes from there. There's one of the only restaurant consumption lounges there in the state. So there's that as well. So they have their own little niche thing going on. And Silver City is actually really pretty. It's gorgeous over there. I love going there.
The microclimate there is really incredible. And I've seen some really good weed coming out of Silver City.
Me too.
Speaking of, which I didn't say and it's not on there, Jeffrey Castillo from Lonesome. High Lonesome.
Yeah.
He is doing a great job.
Yes.
Out of there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And he's actually been to a few of our town halls as well.
Yes.
He usually shows up in full work gear. You get Jeffrey as Jeffrey is.
Yeah.
Love him to death.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing great. He's doing the best he can, and he's really knocking it out. Putting some really great cultivars out there.
Yep.
Some really great flavors. Still love the Satchmo.
Yep.
Still one of my favorite.
Yep.
But yeah, he's been really supportive of it.
Yeah. Silver City.
Yeah. We need to go in their neck of the woods. They'll be very welcoming to us, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
So Jeffrey, I'm sure you listen to this all the time. So yeah, we want to go to your neck of the woods. We just got to knock out Farmington and Santa Fe first, and then we'll head over there. So maybe once it cools down a little bit, we'll be in Silver City, and we can kind of enjoy it there. Like maybe in the fall or something. But yeah, we're going to try to go over the state. Do you feel we need to do cruises in Sutherland Park again? That's kind of somewhere I kind of feel maybe we can touch again. I mean, if that's the case, we'd have to go back to Albuquerque.
Right.
Yeah.
I like going to Albuquerque.
I
like
fun.
seeing who's going to speak up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I don't mind going to maybe doing these 3 again,
right.
Before the legislature.
And you and Val obviously know more about this, but this is it's a 60-day session, right? So there is more possibility of getting some stuff done.
Yeah. And to be honest, this legislative session, we need to get stuff done because the taxes are like here in a few days about to go up 1%. Right. And then 1% every year after that until 2030. Right. So we need to tackle that. The legislature did have a bill, SB 99, or is it HB 99? I can't remember. There were so many. And that was going to fix that and just get rid of it. However, it didn't go anywhere. And I think what they wanted to do is revisit that and then tackle the issue this next legislative session. We have more time because there's a few things that really need to change. And I kind of feel that this is our chance to get the event things where we can consume at events, we can sell at events, we can consume at concerts, et cetera, because they really need to open that up because our legislature also acknowledges the fact that we do have an alcohol program. Problem, not program. There is a program, but we have a problem and there needs to be a program, but we do have an alcohol problem here in New Mexico and it needs to be tackled, and it's being ignored and it's kind of being just like the silent addiction. And that's something that, really harms us here in New Mexico. And, cannabis really helps curb that because, for the first time in history,
I was going to say,
more Americans choose to use cannabis over alcohol. So that's such good news. Yeah, that means less people are going to die from alcoholism than, anything else. So, I mean, bravo to us, the newer generations for picking a better habit.
Yeah, that's some wild news. Yeah, coming from beverage directing,
Right. Yeah, and I was a bartender for so long too. Yeah,
yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah, no, it is, and congratulations to us. Yeah, we're the tides are turning, and here in New Mexico, it's really sad to see how common and how normalized it is to drink heavily or to party this much and drink that like that. It shouldn't be as normal because it's terrible for you, and it causes so many issues. And I know from firsthand, how much issues it causes. I'm sure you do, and everyone else who's consumed it before. Absolutely. So it's not like cannabis at all. And that's something that the legislature I think is starting to understand, and that's great. And I think us continuing to do these really helps with that. And we've seen it. This last legislative session. Do you kind of feel that they did listen to us with certain things that happened?
Absolutely, I do. Yeah. And we
have a ghost.
I feel like it's really interesting that I feel like we have the ear of the CCD as well.
I do too. I agree.
The Cannabis Control Division.
If you guys don't know, the overseeing people of the cannabis industry here in New Mexico. I think we do have their ear as well. They do look and watch what everybody does. But they also want to know what they can do to help. Yes. They're just there to enforce the rules, guys. I know I give them shit every now and then too, but like I give my siblings shit. So, it's a love thing. Nothing but love for them. But, they're there just to enforce the rules, the law and the rules. They propagate these rules. They have to follow certain laws, just like we do in the industry. We have to ensure certain things are a certain way, et cetera, et cetera. So until those change, they don't enforce it. Just like the public consuming thing, that's just something that needs to change in the law. Absolutely. It's a part of our culture. We should be able to enjoy the fairgrounds and consume cannabis just as they do with the wine festivals. Absolutely. We should be able to do the same thing. It's out of town. There's no one going to be exposed to it. It's not like this big cloud of cannabis is going to float over Cruces and create an issue. So I think, the tides are turning, and I think next session we will have a better chance to really get stuff that we really need done. So long as the industry participates, really gives their say, shows up to certain hearings. I know it sucks, but you got to go. Show up. I mean, 98% of the battle is showing up. The other 2% is when you talk, which is not much, so. it's really important just to be there. The legislators literally thank us when we show up, which is, so relieving. Like I literally had a weight lifted off my chest when they literally were excited, like ecstatic to see us. Like, you guys are cannabis? Oh my God, thank you for showing up. And so they wanted cannabis there too. Because they have like a little green room where they all kind of hang out afterwards. And like they have like wine there that's local food, local snacks, local spirits, local, beer. And one of the legislators goes, "Where's the cannabis?" He said,
neat.
"I was wondering where the hell the cannabis is. Why isn't there a person rolling joints there? Why don't we have balms for all the, elder, legislators? Why don't we have drinks for people to try, and the milligrams? There's no gift baskets from any cannabis industry businesses. We feel you guys don't care." And so, he called us out. So, this next session, guys, let's all get together. Maybe,
gift basket time.
Yeah, gift basket time. You guys love that.
Remedios basket time.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a couple of rollers can go over there and roll for some legislators. It might be a good idea for us. Really touch base. They get to know us as an industry and know that, we're not just stupid stoners, and they don't think of us that way. But, it really gets your face out there so you can show that and prove it. So in the town halls and coming to them is one way to do it too. That's a way where you can start. We can help you out where to go. Because Corrina, you've learned a lot in the last year of doing this. And I don't know if you've noticed that.
I'm always learning. I have learned a lot in the last couple of years about a lot of different things.
That's great. You don't want to stop learning.
No,
you never want to stop learning.
No. That's something that you learn in wine. You can never know everything.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
if you think you do, then
right. It's like, some great advice I was told when I was in Army interrogation school is my instructor says, "You will never learn everything about this job." He said, "The day you do is the day you die."
Yeah.
And you know what? That is applied to almost any job. Everything.
Right.
Like the day you learn everything is the day you die.
Yep.
Or if I learn everything from a job, I shouldn't be doing it anymore. Because why? But yeah, and before you started doing the town halls, your political what you did politically wise was just pretty much nothing, right? Before?
Well, no, not necessarily. No. Like, this has been a while back. I'm a Libra. I worked with Rock the Bells and registered a lot of people for, to register to vote.
Yeah.
I used, in Lake Tahoe, I would run the Rock the Bells table. I'd always try to give my opinion.
Yeah.
Because...
And it's important that you still, you understood how important it is to vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of people feel it doesn't matter, but it totally matters.
Right.
Yeah, especially on local elections.
And I've always educated myself politically, globally.
Yeah.
I think it's important to know what's going on globally.
Yeah. I just meant more or less with the legislative process and everything.
Never the words go over my head. Some of the procedures go over my head. But I think that's only because in my mind there's no hierarchy, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, these people work for us, so
that's right.
I remember actually one of the first times that you really started getting involved. You were talking to a representative, and you actually apologized to me because you were taking so long, and I was like, no, they work for us. Take all the time you want, and I just stood there and waited, of course. So that was one of the first times. That's why I was like. I kind of knew because I knew beforehand. I was like, well, this is one of her first times doing this. So, I wanted you to be comfortable as well.
In California, it's so much more challenging.
Yes.
To talk to your
elected officials.
Millionaire elected official.
They're busy on their yacht. Sorry.
So, yeah. So, yes, I had, the comfort. Yeah, the comfort in the communication.
Yeah.
Is and that's definitely something that you have taught you've taught me, your comfort level when it comes to calling out things, interacting with representatives or senators. Again, there's no hierarchy. They should listen to us. They work for us.
Yeah. Don't treat your employees like shit. Talk to them, respectfully, like you would want to be spoken to as well.
Right.
And, that makes all the difference. Makes the world of the difference. So
I saw a meme yesterday that was like, I don't want any more employees. I want leaders.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah, I need leaders. Yeah, exactly. Not people are just going to sit there and go with everything. Kind of challenge it. Maybe lead. So yeah, definitely. That's something that I hope for too. And one thing I want to let you guys know too is when we do these town halls, it's actually out of our own pockets. We pay for the hotels. We'll maybe get the place where we meet for free, or they'll offer us, to meet there. But we're paying for everything, the food, the whole 9 yards. And I'm not sitting here trying to ask for money. We're just, for transparency reasons, letting you guys know that we're doing this because we care, because we love the industry and we're all
we
part of it.
believe in the cause.
Yes, and of course, and the plant. We want to move it forward. Of course, the right way, which is sometimes the New Mexican way, which is interesting, huh? So, keep an eye out for those. We're going to be, going around the state here again soon. Doing our rounds. The psilocybin stuff, the town halls for that's going to be going on too. I think Albuquerque will be next. So if you do want to go to a town hall here soon in Albuquerque, the psilocybin one will be your next best bet. I may go attend that. I'm not going to be hosting it like I did last time. The lovely folks of Soul Trip are actually going to be doing that from now on. Oh, right. We just did that so we could show them how to do it.
Right.
And so from then on, they do it. So we can focus on ours.
Which is interesting because I'm sure our town halls inspired it.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. And I did suggest, me and Valerie did suggest to them that they should do that. And they said, oh, that's a great idea. And then they didn't know what they were doing. So I was like, maybe we should host the first one for you.
Yeah.
So
it was a great town hall.
Yeah, it was. It was a really good turnout. It was such a good turnout. Thank you for everybody that showed up and gave input. Sorry we couldn't get everybody's testimonies that wanted to give testimonies, but there will be a time and period where you guys can. It was great to have a senator there and also a county representative as well. That was really cool to see, and that we have that support.
Yeah.
It's really huge for New Mexico, the psilocybin thing. And I'm actually going to be talking about that more here on this podcast to educate you guys, not just on cannabis, but also the psilocybin, because that's coming down the pipe here in New Mexico very soon. So I might as well start educating people on psilocybin as well, because that might be an option here in New Mexico very soon to, use it for medical reasons.
Fungi medicine, plant medicine.
Yep.
I'm excited. I'm going to the International Psychedelic Conference in Jamaica.
Oh, cool.
In September.
Good for you. Heck yeah. That sounds fun, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to Hawaii and I'm still jealous.
Well, I know you hear me talk about them a lot, but it's put on by Hyphy Labs, which is like so Hyphy Labs, shouts out to Hyphy Labs, the only psilocybin testing lab in the United States. You can send all of your samples there for potency, for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, just make sure it's a safe product. To consume. That's important with anything that you do consume and put in your body. So that's great that they provide that. So thank you for that. It's going to be needed down the pipe, because for Americas in general, psilocybin's next. Probably MDMA too, to be honest. I'm hearing that
healing medicines.
Exactly, not medicines that just mask it over. And just kind of put a blanket. So, but anyway, thank you for that. It was a really good conversation about the town halls. And I really appreciate you being a part of them. You actually bring a really good perspective when it comes to it, and I really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And your hard work, and on it, because it's a lot of dedication. It's a lot of shit. Yeah,
it is.
I think the only one you missed was like one of them, right?
Right.
Yeah. It was totally understandable, but yeah, I was like, oh, don't even feel bad, dude. You've been to every single one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I really appreciate it. So we're going to move on, and Corrina's actually probably going to lead this conversation because I have limited information about it. You just came from California, and let's talk about California having a quality issue right now, and it might be down a little bit because of saturation, you said?
I believe so. Yeah. And this isn't going to any of the like heavy hitters. Like I didn't go to Harborside, but I was in Oakland this past weekend. And I went to the corner dispensary and asked a few questions, looked at some cannabis, and it left me a little perplexed for the first time going into a California dispensary.
Did you check where you were?
I just really didn't see anything of quality that was like smoking that I had to have. The bud tender didn't really understand the questions that I was asking. And it was just I don't think it was just a dispensary. It was just a really interesting experience. And then I go home. I talk with my uncle and my cousin who are living in California and are heavy cannabis medicine users. Yeah. And I was like, I had this strange experience at the dispensary. And my cousin is like, yeah, the dispensary cannabis quality has gone way down because of saturation. Interesting. And I was like, in Oakland?
Yeah, out of all places. Yeah, the Bay.
Right. And so I found that really, really interesting. And obviously there's more to what happened in the California market.
Yeah.
But the minimal that I know is that, big producers were able to stack licenses.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's, they grew, thousands and thousands of plants.
Yeah. Tens of thousands, if not. Yeah.
Yep. And so that's what brought the price down. And so it was really strange to see the quality of cannabis in the dispensaries, just not like I used to see it.
Yeah.
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 And I think it's a common thing. I asked both my cousin and my uncle. I said, "What are you guys seeing in the dispensaries?" And my cousin is like, "I'm not seeing anything good in the dispensaries right now."
Wild, because that used to be like the mecca.
Right.
Like you would want to go to California for the dispensary and quality experience.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. So it was really interesting to me. Now, the one thing, and I think that New Mexico, because we have these micro business license, micro producers license, I think that we kind of we are set up to nurture that part of the industry. Now, like the micro growers up in, the legacy growers in Humboldt County and Mendocino County, I think because they have a specific niche to their craft, they're still very much thriving their quality, but you can't find that type of quality at every dispensary in California. There's way too many.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the last time I went to California, I contacted the grower of the cannabis flower that I like, and I said, "Where is your cannabis?" And I went to the dispensary that his cannabis was at. It was like in Richmond. It was not even in Oakland.
Yeah.
It was in Richmond. So I had to
How
drive.
far is that?
Like 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No one wants to drive 20 minutes for weed. Especially in California.
Especially in California.
Yeah, it should be 5.
So I found that was really interesting. I don't mean to like throw shade on the California market or anything like that, but it's been, comparative to watching the New Mexico market change so much in the last 2 years.
It's crazy. It's a night and day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome. I'm seeing some great cannabis out there, and I think it's fabulous.
Yeah, me too. So, good for us, right? Yeah, yay for us. California, I'm sorry, you guys are dealing with that, but we deserve our day. Every dog deserves his day. So yeah, that's interesting to hear, that they're going through that, and who knows what other underlying things are kind of causing that too.
Right.
Who knows, maybe a drought or or maybe it is just the big companies, because once you do start getting into those thousands and thousands of plants, the quality does tend to go down.
Absolutely.
So you could just start seeing more corporate cannabis in California, unfortunately.
Yes.
I don't want corporate cannabis anywhere.
Right.
Let me be honest and clear with that.
Right.
But that might be what we're seeing.
I think that's exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah, and a lot of operators leaving California due to the felon regulations, the taxation, et cetera, whatever their reasoning is. So yeah, dang, that's unfortunate. That's sad, because for such the longest time, California, known for the California weed.
Right.
Even taking it from the West Coast to the East Coast, back in the day, that was a very profitable business for a lot of people.
Right.
And now, wow.
Now everybody's doing really well. The Greenhouse Guru was telling me that Michigan has incredible weed.
Oh, they do. They've had good weed for a while.
Really?
Washington State, some really great cannabis up there.
Yeah.
Really great cannabis. But yeah, Michigan, I've heard for a while. Yeah, they've had some good weed up there. Yeah. I actually have a buddy who's a breeder up there, and he sent me some genetics. So I want to try to grow them out and see how they come out. But yeah. And yeah, the random places like that, maybe somewhere on the East Coast will pop up randomly with some really, really good cannabis, and we'll see.
New York.
Yeah, New York. Once they fix their issues, once they fix their mini issues and all that. So, but yeah, is that all you had for like the whole Cali update thing?
I think so.
Yeah.
Just it was a surprise to me.
Yeah. No, and it's something to talk about. I really like talking about other states' markets, especially when it's something like that, because that could be something that's underlying that we're going to hear about here in a couple months.
Right.
So keep in mind, if something does happen, I'll keep you guys in the know. And Corrina, if you want to tag me on Instagram or whatever when it happens, let me know and I'll just share it. But yeah, this could be the start of something interesting down the road. I'm kind of thinking
smaller numbers.
Yes, definitely.
Craft cannabis.
That's the way to go. That's the only way you're going to get good quality. Even with the craft microbrewers, you have really good beer on that side. You have really good cannabis with the craft micro growers. So. And we're seeing that here in New Mexico, and that's really paying off.
It's exciting to see.
Yeah, it
the
is.
celebration of craft.
I agree. Like it just really loving the plant. It's really love at that point. So, but anyway, we're gonna move on to the last topic of the day. We'll get you guys out of here. I want to update y'all about the federal government. They have now, well, one of the federal agencies ruled that THCA is now a no-go, which is unfortunate. So it looks like the DEA announced THC is still illegal, or THCA is still illegal. And as you guys know right now, there's this whole little gray area market thing where THCA is found everywhere. It looks like a lawyer, the same lawyer that asked the DA to clarify if seeds are illegal or not, and if spores are illegal or not, is the same one that asked for this clarification. I guess he thought that, hey, I'm on a winning streak.
Right.
Let me see if this one will work. And unfortunately, the DEA said no. And actually now, whenever you do have hemp, you're going to have to also ensure that it's under the 0.3% THC after it's decarboxylated. So after it's decarbed, yeah, this is the number you're going to have to give them. So yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the poor hemp market.
I know, and like it's so sad because like the hemp market had such a strong start, and then it just died, just dove, and now it's like starting to kind of get a little recovery with this, and it's unfortunate. And then on top of that, there's a bipartisan effort, within Congress in the new farm bill to ban HHC, Delta A, all of that stuff that's synthesized. If it's synthesized, and that's from my understanding anyway. And then they could just be banning it, in a certain percentage as well, other than this, because it is a loophole, it is a gray area. You find it at gas stations, and so it was an amendment put in one of the committees. I don't know if it's going to pass when it comes to the floor or what's going to happen. However, there is bipartisan support, meaning there's a lot more Republicans supporting the farmers, saying that, this actually doesn't sound like a good idea because these poor farmers that used to plant wheat or whatever and went to hemp, they're having a hard time already. Now you're going to make it almost impossible for them, with these regulations here. Like we get the issue, but the fix, that's not going to be good enough, for us, because that is just going to decimate the hemp market. Oh my God, the poor guys. And it's already hard enough, like here in New Mexico, we deal with a lot of hot hemp, just because of the temperatures and everything. It just kind of happens faster.
Hot hemp.
Yeah, hot hemp. It's funny because it's hot here. Yeah, it was a term that got coined in the early hemp days here, is because it's over the 0.3%.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
because in wine tastes hotter when it has more alcohol in it.
Really?
Like on the throat, on the palate, like when
that does make sense.
Yeah, it's when it's more ripe.
Yeah,
it tastes hotter. So it's interesting for me, hot hemp.
That's funny. Yeah. You like put it all together. Hot wine, hot hemp. So now there is a chance that this does get removed in another committee or on the floor. Keep in mind that this is only in one part of the congressional houses. It has to go over to one of the other, then it has to get signed by by POTUS, by the president. We still have a ways to go. However, the farm bill is a very important bill, and it does have to get done. So it's not like it's something that's going to die. So the chance of this passing is kind of high. I'm going to say the chances of this actually happening, I would say, is very high, unless something happens in one of the committees or on the floor. We'll see what happens. If you are a hemp farmer, one, or you want to support this, I suggest you contact your representatives by the groves to let them know you do not support this and we should not do this to the hemp industry. For one, I kind of feel that, we shouldn't do this right now, especially with us figuring out this whole rescheduling thing. We're trying to decriminalize it at the same time. This could cause more confusion for us down the road if we start going this route. So I kind of feel that something like this personally is a bad idea. I don't know about you. I mean, how do you feel about it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm obvious. I feel like it's a bad idea. Definitely.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
It's sad, really, in my opinion, with that, because like I said, getting 0.3% on a plant that's supposed to just grow however, and its THC content is whatever, that's difficult already. And now you're going to, make them, after decarbing it, be under 0.3%. That's a little ridiculous. And I get it. It was a loophole for certain people to go and, smoke cannabis or whatever. But this is just a testament that the drug war on this is over, and, it might be time for us to
It's interesting, too, because most of the benefits of straight CBD hemp is CBD,
Yeah.
which is an anti-inflammatory, which is an anti-anxiety, which
Yeah.
is like in lines with a lot of the needs of the pharmaceutical industry.
100%. So
So,
that's really interesting that you mentioned that. Yeah.
mhm,
So that could be another thing that creep up that we could, if
mhm,
we look at, we know we
mhm.
can't trust pharmaceutical companies.
Right,
So, that's just historically. I mean, New Mexico
right,
just won a lawsuit against a pharmaceutical company, and we're going to get millions of dollars because, they lied about Oxycontin. So, that's another
okay,
thing that keep in mind that, yeah, they do lie to us a lot. And so it's hard to trust them.
right,
Yeah, it's really hard to trust them,
right,
because they've lied to us so much.
right.
But yeah, it's something unfortunate that this happened. The DEA even saying that THCA is still illegal. That sucks because states that have no legal cannabis right now, that was the
Right.
only way they were kind of like doing it. Texas being for one.
Right.
That's unfortunate because the ones that aren't closer to New Mexico or a place that's legal, even like Oklahoma, they have a harder time getting there. And they're like the
Right.
people from Dallas are gonna have to come here now.
Right.
Good for us, hey, more taxes. But it's unfortunate because people that were benefiting from this can't now.
Right.
And we'll see what happens because
Right.
if the DEA says no, the Texas is really going to say no. They're going to start cracking down on people, and that's another thing that worries me. Is there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to catch charges that really shouldn't be catching charges. Especially for something like this.
Right.
It's unfortunate. So,
and hemp is so used in, and this is like a whole kind of can be a different conversation, but the cannabinoids that come from hemp make it easy to celebrate cannabinoids.
yeah,
I sometimes believe that the cannabinoids like CBD and CBG need to come from cannabis versus hemp to be whole plant medicine with
Yeah.
THC. But I think that hemp allows us to explore the benefits, the plant medicine benefits of all the cannabinoids.
I agree with you, and that's one thing that will say that the way we've gone about this has been a pro. Is we've been able to not just look at the THC, the CBD, but then like, oh crap, look at all these other ones. And,
Right.
the CBCs, the CBNs, the
Right.
CBGs, the THCVs, the THCA, which is just, non-decarbed.
I think there's found 200 cannabinoids.
Yeah.
200 cannabinoids.
Yeah. And keep in mind, some of these are so in such small quantities that you wouldn't get much of effect other than like a minute one with it all together. So, what these are doing, they're synthesizing, the hemp, plants, and they're turning it into HHC, Delta 8, et cetera, and they're raising that content more. So we got a chance to explore what these do, and we found out how many more psychoactive compounds are in cannabis. Like, who knows? Maybe the THC is one part of it, but then you have Delta 8 and HHC and Delta 10, all of that's in the plant that's being put in with it as well. So yeah, you need the CBD, you need the THC, you need all that stuff that's in the plant already. And I agree, that's the most medicinal plants you'll get are the ones that have everything with it. And I tell people, if you really want to get a medicinal effect from the plant, go a 1-to-1 or something like that, like
or full spectrum.
Yeah, full spec. Don't worry about the THC.
Right.
If it has high THC, okay, but don't worry about the high THC.
Right.
That's not always what matters when it comes to the medicinal part of the cannabis plant. So, but yeah, that's everything I have. Do you have anything else to share on this?
Well, just piggybacking on you mentioning the rescheduling and speaking up. There's 60-day comment right now.
Yeah, I've been speaking about this a lot.
For descheduling. So it's time for everyone to call and say not reschedule, deschedule.
Yeah, and it's really easy. I left the link in last week's episode. I
awesome.
spoke about this.
Yeah.
I've been speaking about it a lot, so I'm glad that you brought it up.
Yeah.
Just to remind you guys, yes,
Call.
we're in a 60-day public comment period.
Deschedule.
Call, comment, but it's easier. You can hit the link, just write a public comment, just say deschedule if you want. You don't even have to, put anything fancy. You can just put, please deschedule, no reschedule. That's it. That's all you got to do. And the DEA does have to look at these. They have to read these. So keep in mind too, if you go to like a site like Normal, nothing against Normal, but sometimes they put out something that is like a copy and paste kind of email thing. I'm learning now through my experience that a lot of legislatures and a lot of government entities don't even look at the copy and paste ones. If you didn't type something, at least a sentence or a paragraph, they're not going to read it. So at least try to write a paragraph of what you believe in, whatever, and then put the copy paste thing under that. you know, so that way they at least get the other meat of everything what you mean and exactly what you want.
Right.
So yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. You
Yeah,
know, we are in
yeah.
the 60-day period. We're also in a 30-day period where we can ask for a in-person public comment. So I think that's a really good idea for us to do as well, is to request the in-person public comment, because I think that's more beneficial than just being able to type.
Right.
Yeah. You know, if there's any time you can show up in person, it's better.
Mhm.
So thank you again for mentioning
Yeah,
that, Corrina.
totally.
And thank you again for joining me today. It's been
Yeah, thank you for
fantastic.
having me.
Of course,
Yeah,
always,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
as always. And I look forward to continuing this journey with the town hall stuff with you.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun. And eventually I'll have all the girls on individually, and then maybe one day we
Yeah.
can have one big group one and
All
figure it out.
right.
That'd be such a fun one.
Mhm, mhm.
So we'll figure that out. Maybe, you know, we'll have more cameras probably here soon. We'll see.
Awesome.
So we can get more angles. But yeah, thank you again for joining me, and thank you
My
everybody for
pleasure.
watching. And also, before I go, thank you again to today's sponsor, Turquoise Bloom. Go ahead and check them out at 162 Wyatt Drive. Go check out those $5 pre-rolls. So make sure you also follow, like, subscribe, whatever you got to do to stay in the know. But make sure you stay here. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Shoots.
Happy day.